This programme has uncovered disturbing evidence of parents removing their children from school to avoid them learning about LGBT relationships, now part of the Department for Education's curriculum. From September of 2020, it will be compulsory for schools to teach these subjects, often called relationship classes. But the backlash by some parents has been so severe that teachers who find themselves on the front line between government policy and parents have received letters or threats that they're now being encouraged to pass on to the counter-extremism agency Prevent. Katie Razzle reports.
It's really important to us that our kids understand that love is love and that healthy relationships come in all shapes and sizes.
We consider the traditional family with the mum and a dad as the norm. It's practically the destruction of the traditional family unit is what is going on in our society.
Parental consent. Parental consent. They're not teaching 4-year-olds how to have sex. They're not teaching 4-year-olds how to be gay. They are teaching 4-year-olds that gay people exist.
What place do religious beliefs have in school? Last week, tensions that have played out for months in Birmingham spilled over to Nottingham.
Why are you filming me?
These protesters object to a policy that becomes compulsory next year. It encourages primary schools in England to teach about LGBT relationships if they're age appropriate, as part of what's called relationships education. This man is banned from protesting at a Birmingham school. Turning up at Nottingham's Fernwood Primary, he told Newsnight term may be over, but the campaigners' plan to spread the message goes on.
Day by day, our support is increasing throughout the country. In Birmingham, we are going to be organising workshops for parents to attend, and so that they know in greater detail as to what the issue is about, what material is being taught, what government policy is, and where this push towards this sexualising of young children is coming from.
On Monday, our protest will start at 9 a.m.
This long-running saga is now a key issue in the in-tray of the new Education Secretary Gavin Williamson, who voted against same-sex marriage in 2014. One of the schools at the centre of the Birmingham protests has a temporary injunction in place banning these kinds of demos outside it. Birmingham City Council will try to make that permanent in court in October.
I want the DfE and Boris Johnson to make it very clear to the British public who's in charge. Is it British law? Is it the British government and the British Prime Minister? Or is it a group of people standing outside a primary school saying, you can't tell my kid it's all right to be gay? So who is it? Who is in charge of that? Because the Public Sector Equality Duty in the Equality Act 2010 is very clear. I'm a public sector worker, so is Boris, so is Gavin. We all have a duty to eliminate discrimination and tackle prejudice.
Newsnight has been made aware of a video doing the rounds on WhatsApp groups amongst some of those objecting to primary schools teaching about same-sex relationships. We can't verify its origins. The video claims children are being taught about anal sex.
That's not true.
And talks of a campaign against Muslims. Sarah Hewitt-Clarkson has reported it to the police and to the anti-terrorism initiative Prevent.
I think it's a police matter because it's clearly homophobic. It incites hatred towards gay people. I think it's inflammatory towards me. It says, I invited gay people into school. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's just a ridiculous thing to say. And the bit about anal sex, we don't teach children about any sex at our primary school. Heterosexual, any kind of sex. And they know that's not true.
Protest organisers say their demonstrations aren't anti-LGBT in any way.
We've been very adamant on this point within our campaign and amongst our supporters that we will not accept homophobic behaviour, homophobic comments or anything abusive against the LGBT community, because it is we must offer respect and tolerance towards them.
Newsnight understands other items have also been referred to Prevent and the police in this ongoing row. Sarah Hewitt-Clarkson passed on anti-Muslim material sent to her school, which she said had far-right tones. It's being investigated. We've also learnt that the National Association of Head Teachers sent a dossier of issues raised by its members to the Department for Education's Counter-Extremism Division. A Prevent officer told us, while the RSE protests themselves are not a concern for Prevent, we are aware that the issue is being exploited by extremist groups. We believe both Islamist and far-right activists are using the protests to foster division between communities. Aside from any potential extremism concerns, it's small numbers of Britain's conservative Muslim community who have been most visibly at the forefront of the campaign. But some members of other faiths also object to the policy. Newsnight has spoken to the head of a London primary school. She asked to remain anonymous to prevent the kind of backlash seen in Birmingham. It's her first interview on the subject.
Mine is a lot of Christian families. They're extreme Christianity and they quote verses from the Bible, etc. I've had some Muslim. It's a mixture, really. We basically teach that love is love. We talk about relationships. We talk about some people have two mums, some have two dads. Then they say I'm sexualizing children. I'm indoctrinating them to be gay. I'm worried about my own personal safety. I'm worried about my staff, but mostly I'm worried about the children. I've seen a change in behaviour of particular children being homophobic in their comments towards others in the playground.
At the moment, parents have the right to remove their children from these classes. Have you had children pulled out of these lessons in your school?
Yes, a significant amount compared to last year. Last year we only had a handful. This year we have a significant amount, over 100.
This head teacher said she'd been cheered by the reaction of some parents last week in Nottingham. Newsnight has learnt that letters withdrawing children from relationship and sex education classes have been sent to this primary school too by some parents. Forewarned their school would be targeted in the row, others decided the best response was to bring a little colour back into a debate that's often appeared black and white.
Well, we asked the Department for Education to come on to tonight's show. No one was available. They told us relationships, sex and health education are vital to ensure children grow up healthily, happy and safe. Every school will have the support they need to deliver these subjects to a high standard.